Uh, Thank you, Steve. My name's Kim Dixon, and I'm the president of Partnering for Peace this year. And I'll just introduce my fellow board members. Steve Werner, who's the founding father president of Partnering for Peace. Let's see, on my screen, I see Bill Miller, who's on the board, Charlie Hunt, who's our vice president. Thank you very much. Kevin Denny, who's on our board. Erica Brulette is our board and the chair of our Rotary Peace Corps Week this year. Ross Fieser is our treasurer. Thank you, Ross, for joining. And we've got lots of active volunteers, some of which are going to be speaking today. So we thank you all. Got a few more people joining. Susan Zebeda. Sorry. Thank you, Susan. All right, so let's get started here. I will share my screen, and if I can, here we go. We have a today, and starting with we'll be talking about the Rotary Peace Corps Week 2022. Boy, time flies. How to support Partnering for Peace, how you can all help us support Partnering for Peace through social media. Summarize steps on how to build your Partnering for Peace in your district. And Bill Miller's done a fabulous job. And so he's going to talk about that, just key points. Then we'll talk about the International Convention, Ed and Steve. Ed Pettit, I don't know if he's on yet, will speak to that. And then we're very pleased to have Michael Kat, who is the former country director in the Ukraine for the last 4 years, and he'll be speaking about the situation in the Ukraine. So thank you all for being here. I did want to make sure I know everyone's heard that PCVs are back. Zambia, and in the Dominican Republic, we've got Peace Corps volunteers back. And as our MOU, our Memorandum of Understanding, is between Peace Corps and Rotary, we really hope Peace Corps volunteers more actively as they reach out to us with needs, etc. And also, I'm sure most of you have heard by now that President Biden has nominated Carol Spahn to be the director of Peace Corps. She's a wonderful director, active director for the last year, two, how long's it been? But she's a fan of ours, very supportive of Partnering for Peace and of Rotary. So we're very pleased about that. So without any further ado, Charlie will be monitoring the chat because I can't multitask anymore. And please interrupt me, Charlie, if there's any immediate questions. Otherwise, we can hold questions till the end. I'd like to turn it over to Erica to the Rotary Peace Corps Week.
Great. Excited to be here. Thank you all for joining. And I'm super passionate about Rotary and Peace Corps and the partnership, as a lot of us are. So it's great that we have another chance to have a special week to highlight this. And so just really quick, touching on what we'll do.
Erica,
can you all hear me?
Yeah, just comment. The slides are so inappropriate. They're full of information. And I'm going to ask Charlie, if it's all right, if he could put this on the website as soon as he can when we're done today, so you can read it more at your leisure. But it was such good information. I didn't want to just drop it into bullets. So apologize in advance for all the work. And I'll turn it back to Erica to talk about the theme for this week.
No problem, Kim. I've had a lot of ideas in my head, and it's one thing to have them in your head and another to share them. So I think what Kim has is what I managed to put on paper. So but super excited about the theme. This was an idea that came out just a
At
few
your
months ago to
leisure,
have a
could
theme.
you put bathroom on this? Carol gets confused
Sorry,
as to
can
what
someone
is
go
the
on mute? It's
bathroom
really
door.
distracting.
So,
If you're
okay,
not speaking, please go on mute.
you heard me.
Okay, so okay, good. Thank you all. So sorry about that. So we'll have the Rotary Peace Corps Week with the theme being peace building on the ground. And this comes from, oh gosh, sorry, I lost my little spiel where I had it all written out. This is between the two organizations, with Rotary having peace builder districts, peace builder clubs, the Rotary community, and then with Peace Corps volunteers serving in their countries of service, and then with the Peace Corps community involved in various peace-related activities with their different projects. So this was a good way to tie the two together with the different focuses, with kind of Rotary giving an opportunity for Peace Corps community who have served in the Peace Corps, or maybe they've been a country director, maybe they worked in Peace Corps headquarters, for them to kind of continue their service or amplify their service. And with those who are interested in Peace Corps after they were in Rotary first, you know, it complements. This is a way to translate the different work that you've done in your clubs with an audience, so-called boots on the ground, right? And who have different kind of connections with those harder to reach places. So I think that the way that people in both of these communities do things are very complementary towards each other. And so that's where the peace building on the ground theme came from. And I think it'd be really cool to kind of highlight, you know, our projects, those that are peace projects. Very broadly, a lot of projects can be called peace projects, right? So super excited about highlighting the different ways people have leveraged the partnership. And then with we have a calls to action. So want everybody to get excited about these harder to reach, or how do I want to say, some of the ways that we can participate and engage in the partnership are maybe some of them seem conceptual. And so I think this will be a way to make those ways more real and to showcase one's ways to engage in the partnership that we've already done, to bring it to the forefront, to put a face to it, to put a how do I say, just make it more real. So definitely want to collect summaries of the projects, and in those summaries answer some targeted questions, trying to get at that the beginning, right? So how did this project come about, the design phase, right? Who reached out to whom, who thought to connect which part of the partnership, I guess, how did that come about, and how was the partnership useful? So these questions are kind of guided towards finding out how it got started, what's the what if factor, or the benefits, and really by putting a face and videos, putting action behind these projects. It's one thing to read a summary about it, but it's another to see a picture and or see a video, see it in action, right? Oh yeah, that's so cool. Wow, you know, like get that wow factor. So we're looking for identify, write up, share these photos and videos, summaries of projects. And this is more info about this is coming soon. This is just a sneak peek. So just want to get you guys excited about the wow factor, the inspirational factor, And then, of course, share the save the date. That's in our conferences, at Rotary clubs. If you're not in Rotary, you don't have a conference to go to, of course, Peace Corps, our different affiliate groups, or maybe some event that you all are hosting together. Bring the flyers to it, attach it to an email, send it out to your networks, and really spread the word behind the Rotary Peace Corps Week. And you can tie it in with your third goal, right? With those who served, or those who want to talk about their experiences working with Peace Corps, right? Country director, staff, trainer, maybe they were a recruiter. And so I think it ties in with those who were involved in the Peace Corps community, and talking about the promotional for this. So, and that kind of also goes hand in hand with the third call to action, the host or convene a virtual or in-person gathering. I put on some ideas about some types that maybe we could consider. And I also want to caveat, it's important not only to invite those from the Rotary community and the Peace Corps community, but also just anyone in the general community who's interested in these topics, right? I mean, it's a great way to introduce people, create awareness about Rotary and about Peace Corps. And I mean, if they find out about the partnership, you go, oh, wow, these groups are so similar, all this great work. Definitely think that's a benefit for the community. So this slide here has, it's simplified from something that is in the toolbox that was created years ago. So it's simplified from that. Ways to engage in the Rotary Peace Corps partnership. And some of these may be new, maybe they sound conceptual, like I mentioned earlier. Others, we've done 100 times. So maybe somebody has done some of these that are lesser known. So we want to get at those, bring them to, want to feature the ones that are lesser known, right? And feature the ones that maybe, like I said, seem like, oh, how could that work? And then if we find out that it does work, oh, hey, how did you guys get started? Like, who reached out to who, and tell us more. So super excited about what we can learn from these from different projects, and all the different ways that we all engaged with the partnership. So thank you all for your time.
Great. Perfect. Thank you, Erica. And Erica will be working with our communications committee to be sending out lots and lots of social media and our website and our newsletters and the President's Corner. And we're really trying to highlight, there'll be a lot of things that will just different ideas and different ways to engage. Last year, I hope many of you did engage. I did a joint service project with between the RPCV group in Carolina and the My Rotary Club and a couple other Rotary clubs. And the best part about it was we all learned from each other. It was really had a lot of unintended consequences, just of learnings and sharing. It was just a great experience. So lots more.
Has anybody announced when is this week? Has anybody mentioned when is this week? Because I haven't heard.
Sorry.
When is this week we're talking about?
So sorry about that. September 19th through 23rd. Bookending International Peace Day on the 21st. I was remiss in mentioning that. I'm so sorry, everybody.
It was, and it's on the chart, but thank you, Erica. So lots more to come on that. September, as Erica said, 23rd to the 29th, is it? No, to the 25th.
19th through 23rd.
Thank you.
In September.
19th to the 23rd in September. Okay, moving right along. Terrence Stevenson is a relatively new volunteer. We asked for some people to help us with, I hope everyone can see this, can help us with the website and social media, and Terrence has stepped forward and just done a tremendous job. And so thank you so much, Terrence. And I'm going to, I hope you can see your screen up here, and I will turn the pages as you request.
All right. Thanks, Kim. As Kim mentioned, my name is Terrence Stevenson. I'm a returned Peace Corps volunteer from Armenia, and I served from 2012 to 2014. And I'm currently a Rotarian in the Seattle International District. And I'm going to be speaking a little bit about how to engage our social media posts on behalf of the chair, our communications chair, Karen, who could not be here today. So I'll be very brief. And Kim, could you go to the next slide, please? So social media plays a really big role in getting the message out of the work that Partnering for Peace does, obviously. It's a really great way to engage our current members and our new members in a kind of grassroots way from the bottom up. And so we are wanting to utilize social media to engage our current members and find new members who don't know, and as well as connect with and potentially create and develop relationships with new organizations as well. And so currently we have 3 kind of main social media platforms. And at this point, I'm actually gonna ask everyone who's watching right now, if you could take your phone out. Typically during these kind of presentations, you don't ask people to look at their phones, but if you could take your phone out and go to the Facebook page. If you type in the Facebook app, you can also do this on your computer. But if you type in Partnering for Peace on the Facebook search bar, we have both a public page that you can like the page and you'll get updates. Please turn your notifications on for that. We also have a Partnering for Peace private group. If you join that group, you will be able to gain membership for that as well. And a lot of information is disseminated through Facebook. We have a lot of kind of engagement. I think that's probably our main way of engaging the public. We also have a LinkedIn page and we have an Instagram page. So as I'm kind of talking through this PowerPoint, you could go to your Facebook, LinkedIn app, and Instagram, type in Partnering for Peace in the search bar, and just like the pages or follow the pages. You can go to the next slide, please, Kim. So as I mentioned, follow, like the pages, join the groups. I would say that only group that we have right now is the Facebook group. Also, notifications to open or all, so that you can know if you set your notifications on in social media, you'll be able to get notifications whenever a new post is posted. And that usually means something big is happening with the organization, like an event of some sort. And another action you can take to engage social media is, we kind of list this out from minimum to kind of like the best action that you can take. At minimum, you can like the page. When you like the page, it increases within the algorithm the ability for more people to see the post, and then that spreads, and then they might like it, and so it kind of a little bit kind of like a virus, if you will, like a good virus. You can also like and comment. Those are always really great, and that does kind of the same way. And I think probably the best way to kind of share the messaging is to actually share it within the social media platform. So you can actually share, there's a share button on the Facebook page. You can actually share it, and you can create your own post in sharing it. So you can share it just as it is, or you can share your own messaging. For example, if we post, a story, you can share it and say, here's a really good story that Partnering for Peace shared, and here's why you should, go to the page and like it yourself. So, so these are just some kind of like ways you can share. You can also create your own post and direct people on your post to the various social media pages. You can do this on LinkedIn and Facebook, and on Instagram, you can actually share the page to your own kind of profile wall, or you can share it in your stories. So there's a lot of different ways that you can engage that. And lastly, we just want to show this metric of the impact that sharing can have. So if you look at this page, you can see that typically, if we kind of just post something, sometimes people, will engage it and it can get a lot of views. But when we are actually being intentional about sharing the post, it can spread pretty significantly. And there was a big push to do that last summer during the Partnering for Peace Rotary Peace Week. And we got a lot of reach on that post. So this is kind of just an example of how important that can be in spreading the message. So so I hope that you are able to find those pages throughout social media and like them. And I think pretty much all for me.
This is great, Taryn. Had 6 people that saw.
Kim, you're breaking up a little bit. I missed the last few things you said.
I'm good. All right.
Maybe if you want to type into the chat, you can maybe see.
No, we're good. We're good. Let's see. There you go. Thank you so much, Terrence. Thank you. That was really good. And if anyone didn't understand what he said, you can drop us an email, info@partneringforpeace.org, and we'll ask someone that understands all that stuff to get back to you. And it's our gift to you as an education for being part of social media. A lot of us are learning how to get the hang of. Thank you so much, Terrence, and for all your work. One other thing I'll just mention right off is Terrence is populating a corner of our website that's called the Peace Corner. And again, I'm gonna, especially when Michael speaks, we've got a lot of information on peace initiatives that are going on in Rotary or in Peace Corps, maybe not together, but even though it's not under our mission of joint projects, we'd like to encourage and support them. So all those things are dropped into the Peace Corner. And I would encourage you to go to our website and check that out. And again, if you're not familiar with there, you can always email us again at info@partneringforpeace.org, and we'll help you with that. Next up is Bill Miller. He's a board member that's been around and supporting Partnering for Peace for several years now. He got the light and has been working in Kentucky, an alliance going in his district. For just a few on how he worked and how he was. So I'll turn it over.
Okay, thank you, Kim. You were breaking up a bit, so I may repeat some of what you said. I apologize. My name is Bill Miller, and I was in the Dominican Republic in the Peace Corps. I'm a Rotarian in the Frankfort, Kentucky Rotary Club, past district governor of District 6710. And I would also mention to you very briefly, I put a little blurb in the chat box. If you have a chance, check into www.globalconnectionstelevision.com to view a wide range of interviews with Peace Corps and Rotary leaders, such as John Hugo, Steve Werner, who's with us today, with Carol Spahn, and many others. So I think these interviews will be of interest to you. We have 5 minutes, and luckily we have are really the people who are making this project work in Kentucky. So I'm going to talk just for a minute or so, and then ask Fred Cowan and Susan Zepeda, and even Steve Werner, if we have time left, to comment and fill in what I left off. I think the helpful hints I've put together very briefly will give you an overview of what we're doing. But the critical thing is to start off with the key person, the point person or the chair. And hopefully this will be a returned Peace Corps volunteer and a Rotarian, someone who's got feet in both camps, so to speak, and who really knows the experiences on both sides of the fence. After that, you need to put together a committee, and there's some key people who should be on that committee. One is the chair of the District International Service Committee, the District Rotary Foundation chair, the Friendship Exchange chair, if you have one in your district, the Rotary Peace Scholars Committee chair, or his or her representative, whichever the case might be. Also bring in the district governor and the district governor-elect. And another critical component is the local Return Peace Corps Volunteer Association group. Reach out to them, be it they may be in a large urban area or it may be a statewide group, whichever the case might be, but bring them into your planning committee. And then I would also bring in an expert, someone from Partnering for Peace like Steve or Kim or Charlie, or someone who could tie in and give that macro overview of what this whole concept was about at the beginning, and also how it's developing and shaping up in different districts, Rotary districts around the country. So those are just a few of the key people that I would involve, which we did involve in our committee. And the one thing that I left off on this, I put it together hastily yesterday, but I forgot to mention, be sure and advertise it widely. And what's going to happen with our group is that Fred and Susan Zepeda and others and myself will be doing a presentation at our Rotary District Conference May 20th through the 22nd in Owensboro. So you want to advertise it and let people know what you're doing and get their input. And then also we're going to have articles in our monthly newsletter, the Spectrum, and to explain what the program is about. But let me turn it over to Fred Cowan and then on to Susan and on to Steve. The rest of it, I think, is pretty self-explanatory. You can read it and sort of identify what we've been doing. But Fred, would you like to bring us up to date? Because you and Susan and Rick Harnett are our point people.
Fred, you're muted.
Fred's.
Okay, can you hear me? I'm gonna walk into another room because it says my internet connection is unstable.
Got it.
Hear me all right?
You're good.
Okay. Thank you so much, Bill. I appreciate that. Bill really got this off the ground through the International Service Committee, the district-wide International Service Committee, just by raising the topic. And I happen to be the only one on the call, I guess, who's a RPCV from many, many years ago. And just immediately was very interested in it. And Susan Zepeda, who's also on the call, also was enthusiastic about working. So we've been working on it. And it's a work in progress. And those of you who want to establish this on a district-wide basis, we'll tell you what we know as we learn it. I think a couple things stand out to me, and it depends on where you are. Steve Warner, I want to thank Steve Warner and Charlie Hunt for being particularly supportive of us. They've been in on our Zoom calls, and Kim Dixon as well, helping us to flesh these ideas out and make some progress. It depends on where you are and the involvement of RPCVs in Rotary. Frankly, I think that's one thing that we have to flesh out better is where are our RPCVs in our Rotary clubs throughout the district. And at this point, I don't know, we've discovered a lot. Now we have a lot of RPCVs in Kentucky, and we've drawn on them to get involved in this project, including the Kentucky Peace Corps Association, which has been around for many, many years and is mostly a social function, from what I can tell, as opposed to a service function. So it's for them kind of a first notion of getting involved in Rotary projects. So, and they tend to be, well, not entirely younger people, but they trend toward being younger people who maybe don't have the institutional or community inputs that are connections that a lot of Rotarians do. So our challenge, from my point of view, in part, is to get the Return Peace Corps volunteers to buy into Partnering for Peace. Not that they're opposed to it, but they just can't quite understand it. And I mentioned to Bill, you know, Rotary is a fantastic organization, and it's exemplified by its structure and its discipline and all its various activities. Well, a lot of these Peace Corps RPCVs in particular, I don't think are necessarily plugged in that way. So our challenge, among other things, is to plug them in and make them feel like this is their project as well as ours, and we can recruit some of them to become Rotarians and be involved in other ways. The second thing that I would emphasize in terms of building the district, and I think Susan DePeta was particularly important in highlighting this, was to try to figure out some way to get a project going, to get something going where people can do things. So what we've chosen to do is, surprise, surprise, is turn to our returned Ukrainian Peace Corps volunteers at this particular time and try to get them involved and get them talking about what we can do as a group to assist in humanitarian peacemaking efforts in Ukraine. So we've had a meeting and we're getting another meeting set up. We're starting to do some things. And we also, as a result of this effort, are, and I thank Bill Miller for this as well, the other day, the Rotary Foundation, the District Foundation, voted to give $25,000 in excess funds, District Foundation funds, to the disaster relief effort that Rotary International is conducting. So that's one thing we've done, although it's pretty abstract in a sense, and it's not people actually doing service projects. But we've got a couple of Ukrainians, RPCVs, who are on our committee, who have contacts with their host families in the Ukraine and have already been helping them to some degree by sending various items to them. And we're going to be making contacts with Ukrainian Rotary clubs. So this is all done in the name of Partnering for Peace, the Rotary RPCV connection. And we hope it's something we can build on as we try to build this concept out. But it is, it's something new, it's in progress. We've just been working on this for 3 or 4 months now. And of course, we have the district-wide Zoom meetings that we've discussed it. And as Bill mentioned, we're going to have the opportunity to make a presentation about the whole concept to the district convention coming up next month. So again, wish us luck. We're getting going. We're learning, and we can all learn from you as well. And we already have, and we look forward to developing this concept as we go through. So I'll turn it over to Susan, because Susan may want to add some things to that.
Yeah, just a couple of things. One is when we started meeting with the Kentucky Peace Corps Association, which is returned Peace Corps volunteers throughout the state, we discovered that we both had a shared engagement with Kentucky Refugee Ministries. And so one thing that we're anticipating is that Kentucky will be a refugee resettlement destination for a wave of Ukrainian refugees, and that we'll be able to work together on that. And the other, as Fred mentioned, he has arranged for the Ukrainian Peace Corps volunteers who've returned from there to address our downtown Louisville Rotary Club, which has 350 plus members. And you don't know this, Fred, but a Rotarian came up to me afterwards and said, you know, I've always wanted to join the Peace Corps. And so I shared that it's never too late. And we hope that'll lead to something productive as well.
Thank you.
One other thing I might mention just quickly, and Steve had informed us about his efforts and Charlie's efforts in Colorado recently, was the connection between Peace Corps and potential Rotary Peace Fellows. I'm the subcommittee chair of Rotary Peace Fellows effort in District 6710. And we have managed already through the Peace Corps RPCV mailing list to send out information about Peace Fellows, because what we find in Kentucky, one of the biggest challenges is to get the word out so people even know about the Peace Fellows program, which is a fabulous program, as you know. But most Rotarians don't even know about it. So we have an ongoing challenge to get the word out, and the Peace Corps community is a good place to do that, because many of these folks are in contact with people who might be good Peace Fellows or might be potential Peace Fellows themselves based on their current work.
Great, thank you all. We're a little bit over, so I'm going to jump ahead here, and I hope I'm not breaking up again. But I hope you don't mind. Let's do the Houston convention last, if it's all right with you guys. Because it's really mostly bullets of all the great things we have going on in Houston. But right now, I'd like to just introduce Michael Ketterer. Michael is, we've asked him to come in and speak. He was the former Peace Corps director, so it fits perfectly into what Fred and Bill and Susan have been talking about, and we've all been talking about. He shares 30 years of respectful and collaborative experiences in about developing nations and in the U.S. He spent the last 4 years in the Peace Corps as country director in Kyiv, Ukraine, where he managed the largest Peace Corps globally, pre-pandemic and pre-war, for 400 volunteers per year and 100 Ukrainian staff. That's huge. I'm thinking of my little time in Georgia. That's really huge, Michael. Michael served as Peace Corps volunteer in Honduras, in Guyana, and the Dominican Republic, as in the Crisis Corps, which was the precursor to the Peace Corps response, with AmeriCorps Vista in rural southern Arizona. God bless you for that. He graduated from Vanderbilt School of Law and Amherst College and studied at the Zamorana Pan American Agricultural School in Honduras. Michael's wife, Kelly, is a Foreign Service officer with the Department of State and a returned Peace Corps volunteer who also served in Guyana. So thank you so much, Michael, for your time with us. I think I will take I'll stop sharing for a minute, and you can tell us what's going on in Ukraine and how Peace Corps and Rotary might be or are or could be more working together. Thank you.
Thank you, Kim, and thank all of you who are Rotarians. I've never met a Rotarian that I didn't love. The same service mindset. I'm a former Kiwanian, but don't hold that against me. I think it's important to just start with just getting the word out. Rotary's got amazing programs, and Shannon Carter, who was on a slide just before, she was one of the volunteers that I had the pleasure of working with over the last couple of years. And she is a Peace Fellow, and she's in Northeast Europe, let's say, getting her master's and just doing great stuff. She's drafting with a bunch of other return volunteers from Ukraine, a global grant for, I think, several $100,000 for IDPs, working with a couple of local Rotary clubs in Ukraine where there's contacts. So there's a lot going on. And Peace Corps Ukraine was one of the, for whatever reason, few countries that had some programs that were intertwined with Rotary. And that's where I first saw Steve Werner related to the RILA, the Rotary Youth Leadership, I guess, Academy. And Peace Corps supported that, and our volunteers supported that 1 year in person, and then the next 2 years remotely. So we did have some interaction, and it was very positive and growing. So obviously the synergies are there. I have 15 minutes to talk, so I have like 13 minutes to talk, and I'm only going to talk for 5 or 6 minutes, and then I've done quite a few of these, and there's often quite a few questions. If not, I can talk for a long time, but I'd like to give you an opportunity to, if you have anything on your mind. I left Ukraine around Christmas time. That was almost a year after the Russians had 80,000 people on the troops. That started February, March, April. and the embassy started to take contingency planning very seriously. And that was also after we saw what happened in Afghanistan. Those of us who've been in Kyiv for a while, it's like, well, we've had martial law here. There's a constant threat. We as Peace Corps have been moving slowly back into places now you see bombed: Kharkiv and Kharkivska, Kherson, Khersonska, Zaporizhia. So we were modestly moving back east with volunteers who are already fluent in the language. And anyway, that certainly is not going to happen for quite a while. The Peace Corps program in Ukraine was the largest, and no one ever said why. Senegal was really big too, and Zambia. Those were like the three largest always, but Ukraine was 12% bigger. And it wasn't because of the poverty indicators, and it wasn't because of maternal infant mortality or literacy. What people think, Peace Corps has three goals. The first goal is the technical transfer of skills, the things that we put on our resumes, the work. But the second goal, the relationships and the cultural interchange and the language. I mean, that's, I think, why Peace Corps was so big in Ukraine, to make all those relationships. And now we're seeing that these return volunteers, and there's 3,419 of them in the US now, are doing amazing things. And I'll talk a little bit more about that in this dismal time. It's heartbreaking to anybody who's watching closely. And you can, the intensity for those of us with many people who we care about, I've never felt it in my adult life. So, all right. So Peace Corps in Ukraine had three programs. The biggest one was education. And then there was a youth development, and that was the one where we were having volunteers collaborate with Rotary, but our teachers also did. And then we had a organizational development program. And I'm not going to talk too much about that either, but it was highly functioning. I inherited an amazing staff. I managed as horizontally as I could because they were equally talented, if not more so than I was, and certainly more in tune. And it was a pleasure to work with that staff. And it was during the pre-service training, last one we brought in 140 trainees. Those of you who are volunteers remember your training group. So that's a large group. And we hired an additional 35 staff. So usually we had 65 full-time, and we had 18 vehicles. We had volunteers all over. It was a well-functioning relationships with the government ministries, and we were helping them with their programs, and it was just really fantastic. What the staff's doing now is they do try to meet twice a week, but they're on administrative leave. And because many of them are either internally displaced to the safer parts right now, which is on the borders, southwestern borders, let's say. And then many people have left the country. So they're either refugees or IDPs. So part of that 5 or 6 million, 11 million now, it's growing. I'm not following it daily, but a lot of people displaced, and like half of the children in the country have been displaced. It's just, I don't need to tell you more about that. So I won't, it's tragic. What Rotary's been doing is they've sent up and I think someone referred to it, a disaster relief fund. So funds can go directly to Ukraine, and I don't know the mechanisms of that. And I sent Kim a flyer that I think is the most recent. And also just, speaking, as you said, trying to get the word out to engage more volunteers. The relationship has benefits clearly on many sides. What we did in Ukraine, there's something called a COS conference, which is close of service. We rebrand it, continuation of service. So what are you going to do after these 2 years? How are you going to get back into, you're going to go to grad school, you're going to get a job. I mean, and all sorts of cross-cultural integration and framing your experience, all of that. But at that point, we had a little booth and we talked about Rotary. And we had people, a couple of people who were knowledgeable talk about not only getting involved with your return volunteer organization wherever you live regionally, but connect with Rotary. And we said, or Leo, or or Kiwanis, or there were a couple others that we were promoting too, but we had more experience with Rotary because of the memorandum of understanding, the global one that someone mentioned earlier. I want to say one thing. Kim mentioned in an early email that you might be interested. Peace Corps Ukraine has excellent medical facilities. It's a medical tourism destination for many people in Europe and Southeast Asia, in the Turkey area. So we could accommodate many volunteers who were over 40, over 50, over 60, and we had several volunteers turn 71, 72, in Ukraine and served successfully. One of our doctors was in his mid 60s, and he'd been working with Peace Corps for 20 years. And we had 4 full-time doctors. That's how big of an operation it was. And anyway, so we were able to accommodate older Rotarians. So if someone is interested, who knows what the situation is with Peace Corps Ukraine right now, and there might be a remote. I haven't heard of like what they want to do with it. Again, it's just the second wave of the war. So that all remains to be seen. I talked to my staff, my former staff, quite a bit, email them, Facebook message, and I just, they appreciate deeply, deeply all the support from the Americans. And now it's even less of why aren't you supporting us more militarily, now that in the last week or 2 weeks, there's been a huge amount of material assets that we had not given for the first 5 weeks of the war, or the year when it was fairly clear there was 100,000 people on the border, etc. So, but they are, heartbroken. The kids are out of school, and some of them are sleeping on floors, and the sirens. Again, it's something that I've never experienced, and just trying to be there for them. And it's the fundraising is important because the community groups are buying things like flak jackets and first aid kits with things that coagulate blood. And these aren't untrained soldiers. Like my staff, the males had to stay if you're between 18 and 60, most of them. So most of the families are also separated. The women and the kids are out in other countries or staying in someone's house. And the men are trying to organize and start, I guess, reconstruction around Kyiv. They can start that. So I'm going to take a deep breath and ask if there are any questions. And again, just ultimately, just thank you all for the support and encourage you to keep reaching out to former volunteers.
Michael, this is Susan. Question is, what's the smartest thing we can be doing right now with our returned Peace Corps volunteers from Ukraine who still are in contact with their families and communities that they've worked with?
Thank you. Well, there's a returned Peace Corps volunteer alliance, and that's the national affiliate group. And then there's a new, since the war, a crisis support group, and it's a very active Facebook group. So if they're not on that page yet, they need to be, because it's amazing what these folks are doing in terms of finding people housing and finding people transportation. They're bombing stables. So one volunteer got some horses that were therapy horses that we had worked with kids with special needs out, quick funding. They are selling a cookbook, Babusia's cookbook, Grandma's cookbook, and they raised this was just started yesterday or the day before, and they raised $25,000 in the first day. And they've been raising money for first aid kits, and they've raised $150,000, I think. It's just amazing what the networks are doing in social media. But I say that because they need to be keyed into that. Number one, many volunteers are hosting their own little fundraiser and just sending money directly. It's so easy now to send it to Ukraine, to host families for really local needs or to groups that they've worked with. I would say the first thing is to make sure they're connected with the RPCV crisis support group on Facebook and talk to their friends.
Thank you.
I'm sharing what we're going to be putting on the Peace Corner, which is the frontline response efforts. This is local information and local donation recipients. And then we also have several other disaster funds, global grants, etc. Lots and lots of things. And Michael, I'm trying to remember the, can someone put in the chat the Alliance for the Ukrainian, what's it, affiliate?
It's Peace Corps Alliance for Ukraine. Speaking of social media, Peace Corps Ukraine had a fantastic Instagram and Facebook presence. It's basically stopped clearly since the war, but we used that platform to message over the difficult last couple of years. So if you haven't seen Peace Corps Ukraine, and Peace Corps has a good website too, actually very professional. And so I would ask you to go ahead and like Peace Corps Ukraine. Again, I'm no longer affiliated with Peace Corps, but I'm still supporting as best I can.
This is excellent. And thank you, Michael, for, putting a face to all the horror that we've been seeing and relating to on so many different levels. So I appreciate.
Well, thank you, Kim, and thank you, everyone. As many of you know, tomorrow is Orthodox Easter that the Ukrainians celebrate. And I got a note from one of dear colleagues. She's a Peace Corps staff that had just celebrated 20 years of excellent work with Peace Corps. And she said, it's going to be a bitter Easter, away from home and afraid. And I read that literally 5 minutes before I logged on. And it's too much. And there's sadness all over the world, so much trouble in the world. And anyway, that's why we got to keep doing the little weekend. And I laud and appreciate all of you. Thank you.
Yeah, peace begins with all of us. Thank you, Michael.
Kim, I have a hard stop if it's not rude of me to chat. If anyone wants to get in touch with me, Kim has my email. Please share it broadly. I'm not sure how I can help, but thank you all. Slava Ukraini.
Thank you, Michael. And I'll drop that in this presentation that I'm hoping Charlie will be able to drop on the website when we're done. And I know we're out of time. And so I know we wanted to encourage everyone that to Houston to let you know. Steve, can you net it out real quick?
I sure will, Kim. If you are going to the convention, could you raise your hand or use the reaction button and just put your hand up so I can make a note of that? We will need help. I know Terrence, Erica, Bill Miller, Ross, yeah, and Charlie, and you, Kim. So anyway, Peace Corps is going to have a booth at the House of Friendship. And when they've had booths in the past, they've asked us, meaning Partnering for Peace members, to help out in the booth. The recruiters will talk to Rotarians that are interested in joining Peace Corps, but Rotarians that are interested in getting involved with the partnership are who we will talk to. But we work really well together in the booth. It's been a lot of fun. You meet a lot of Rotarians who either serve in the Peace Corps and want to be members of Partnering for Peace, or you meet Rotarians who from other countries who maybe were taught by a Peace Corps volunteer or hosted a Peace Corps volunteer at their homes. So there's a lot of connections that take place at the convention, and we're going to need help in the booth. And we're putting together a schedule for 2 or 3 hours time period. And if you're going to be at the convention, we'd really appreciate you signing up for the booth. So that's one thing. We're working on having special short storytelling presentations about Rotarians who served in the Peace Corps or otherwise did a Peace Corps partnership project with a Peace Corps volunteer, a Rotarian or a Rotary Club. We're going to have 3 different brief opportunities to tell the Partnering for Peace story. There'll be a Rotaract pre-convention conference on Friday and Saturday morning, and we are given a time slot there, and Shannon and Terrence are going to speak at that. We're also expecting to be given a time slot during the Peace pre-conference, pre-convention conference. That's also Friday and Saturday. So people who are attending the Peace Conference will hear something about Partnering for Peace and the partnership overall. And then we're doing our own special briefing on Monday afternoon from 3:30 to about 5, or 3:30 to 4:45. And that will have information. Erica is going to talk about the Rotary Peace Corps Week. We'll have information about some successful partnership projects. And we'll talk about the benefits to clubs for membership. Charlie will talk about what he's done in his club. And then right after the special briefing on Monday, we're going to have a happy hour organized by board member Ed Pettit. Ed is not on the call right now, but we'll go right
I'm on the
from
call.
this. Oh, you are? Okay, good.
Yeah.
I didn't see you slip in. So why don't you
Yeah, so
talk
we look
about
forward
that?
to
Yeah.
having people at the happy hour. It's going to be at one of my favorite places in Houston, which is Rodeo Goat. It has the best burgers in town, and it's walking distance from the convention center, less than a mile. And we're also going to be inviting our Rotaractors to attend the happy hour with us.
Great.
This is great. I know we're running over, and I apologize for that, but I think
Well,
this.
and Ed, that picture was of the upper deck, right? We're going to be up on the upper deck with a nice view of downtown.
Yeah,
Houston.
so we'll have the whole upper deck to ourselves with a very nice view of the city and the surrounding east downtown neighborhood.
So come to the convention and please sign up to help us. Okay, back to you, Kim.
Thank you, and we're only a little bit over, so thank you all. Thank you for attending. Thank you for all your support, every single one of you. 3 calls to action. If you've got a district conference and you can get a booth, go to the website, and there's a bunch of brochures and posters and things that you can print out and take. If you want to, please support the Rotary Peace Corps Week in September, and Erica will be sending out lots of good information about that, and we'll have it on our website and in our newsletters and in the President's Corner. And Houston is just the beginning of a continued support of Rotary, and Peace Corps has been fabulously. Let's all continue to pray and work for Ukraine and see what little things we can do. I apologize for gonna drop off everybody, but I think that I promised it would only be an hour. So email us and we'll put it in on our website. And I appreciate no last minute things. I think we better close. So thank you all. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Stay safe.
Be safe. Be well.